What's going on, guys? So I want to make this video basically about, so I was thinking while I was listening to Terrence McKenna, I was thinking about 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, right? People had to literally dedicate their life to learn things. Now there's some people that lay out paths for the future which help the people in the future. So for example, Terrence McKenna was talking about how, he was doing, I was watching this one video where he said, he's been doing this for like 35, 40 years. And I was thinking to myself, I've only been on this path, right, for 4 years, 4.5 years, almost 5 years. And not that long, if you wanted to look at it in that terms, in like terms as in, years, human years, not that long. But it's about the way that I've been able to pull information back. It has really helped me because information, I feel like, is hard in that psychedelic experience. It's really hard to bring back the information and bring back the knowledge. But what I've been able to do that a lot of other people, in the past weren't able to do is I was able to listen to Terrence McKenna long before I used psychedelics. I was able to have an understanding of what these things can do, the knowledge of the light beings, other dimensions, and listen to everyone else's experiences, and also with shrooms and ayahuasca and hearing all their experiences and learning. It's the same similar thing where it's like there are all these plants here, and it's like the natives, had shamans and had people that mapped out the plants, so it's like their kids and grandkids could know that these plants are what are safe, and the kids didn't have to actually search for 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 years trying to figure out the poisonous plants from the medicinal plants, from the food, from the and basically what's interesting now is knowledge is so accessible, so we can literally learn from the past. We can learn from the people in the past generations, and we can know what they know before we even start our path. And I can see a lot of, there's, on one side, there's a lot of people from the past generation that are, for lack of a better word, jealous. For lack of a better word, envious of the young generation, because the young generation doesn't have to work as hard to learn the knowledge that they had to do. Where it's like, back in the day, if you wanted to learn something, you had to read a book. Me, I don't read books. I've never read a book. I don't unless I was in high school, but I don't read books because I can't comprehend knowledge that way. So I learn from listening to audio and watching videos. So I think, with this day and age that we live in, things are completely different. Knowledge is so accessible, and things are just evolving. Humans are evolving a lot faster. For example, children, like, I have a 7-year-old. So my 7-year-old literally is about as advanced as I was when I was 10, because humans are evolving. And even farther than that, because she knows technology, and kids nowadays know how to use technology most likely better than adults. It's the thing that happens with old people, where old people are like, oh, those young whippersnappers and their technology, and then back in my day it was like this, and back in my day it was like that, and they get caught into that because they're jealous and envious because the world is evolving around them, and they stopped evolving because they thought they knew it all. They thought they were grown. They thought, and that's the issue with adults. There's this thing called, well, I call it the adult trap. And it's like, you get trapped in this mindset where you're like, oh, I'm an adult, I know. You get trapped in this mindset where it's like, I'm older than you, so, I know more than you, because you think you have more life experiences than the person that's younger than you. But realistically, you might not. Nowadays, with the way the world is, a lot of young people have more life experiences than a lot of old people, because now it's like we're immersed into a technological world that wasn't available for most of the older generation until they were in their 20s. Like, I was talking to my dad, and he was talking about, I think that he started using a computer when he was like in his 20s, or like, and it's like, it's the first time he used a computer. That's insane to me. And I guess I used one when I was like in my teens, and kids nowadays use it before they can even talk. So it's just, this is allowing humans to evolve, and we can learn from the past generation. So it's like, I was able to learn the psychedelic knowledge from Terrence McKenna and other people I watched on YouTube, and listening to their experiences, and then having my own experiences, and seeing what was similar and seeing what was different, and realizing that the differences are mainly because we are different people. So we can go to the same place, but we might experience a different thing, and it's like, it's the same concept where it's like we can all be, I feel like psychedelics, and DMT in particular, I feel like takes you to a certain place, a certain dimension, which is why I was able to listen to Terrence McKenna and understand this dimension, a lot quicker than he was, for example, mainly because I had his knowledge. Terrence McKenna, he didn't really have anyone to go off of besides the shamans and the old knowledge, but they were missing the Western way of looking at things, and I think it's all about combining knowledge, and nowadays we combine so much knowledge. Cultures are combining, knowledge is combining, everything is combining, and it's like soon spirituality and tech and technology will combine as well, and soon spirituality and science will completely combine, because I think that's what we're going to need to do to understand reality. But I think what we need to do to understand reality, really, we got to learn from the past generation. So many people are like, you got to learn from, make your own mistakes and learn from your own mistakes, but I think real intelligence is being able to learn from other people's mistakes, and yeah, I'm very observant. So, I'm very observant with the way the world is going, with the way kids are nowadays, from the way adults are, and from the way I am, stuck in the middle. And it's like, I don't know. There's definitely, this huge evolution going on. And it's going so fast now that it's insane. Like, my friend Fi was telling me about this one guy, I forgot his name, that predicted the technological evolution, and it was almost like this for a while, then it was slowly going up and slowly going up, and like at a certain point, I think he said around 2050, it just starts going, technology, it just goes fucking going up, and by then it's going to be hard for humans to keep up with. But not if we have evolved with the fucking world around us. We can't get too stagnant. We can't think we know it all. We have to think that we don't know nothing, because if we continuously think we don't know nothing, then we continuously can keep trying to pull in information so we can eventually try to know. But if you think you know everything, if you think you already know because, you're an adult and you might be 60 years old and you think, I've experienced life, what does this 24-year-old young kid have anything to teach me? It's like young kids have a lot to teach the older generation, especially if the older generation is stuck in the fucking past and doesn't realize the world around them is a lot different than it was when they were kids. And that's how it's going to be. And that's how it's always going to be. But if we can learn from the past generation, learn from them, see where they came from, learn about their experiences, learn from their experiences, and then also we have to learn from the younger generation as well. If you have kids, you shouldn't be just teaching your kids should be teaching you. Your kids should be teaching you how to live, because the world is evolving, and it's like as the world evolves, things change. Observe your children, because you'll observe where the world is going to go. And it's like if you observe the older generation, you can observe where the world was and where you need to go, because none of it needs to stay the same. People get too caught up in trying to keep things the same, which is why I think a lot of the older generation gets envious of the younger generation, because they don't have to work as hard. Work is hard. Well, we do have to work as hard mentally, and like there's a lot of people that are jealous of people that have, personal brands. You can basically make a YouTube channel, make a personal brand, sell your shit, and be good for your life, and it's like, that's amazing. But we're only able to do that because we've learned from the past generation. And it's like, I think people get too caught up in the world that we have, where it's like they think that we're supposed to work. It's like there's this system of society that people think is, and as things change, the older generation gets jealous, because a lot of the older generation are like, I had to work at a factory for 40 fucking years and then finally get to retire and then finally try to do the things I want to do. And they're jealous because they see a lot of younger kids doing what the fuck they want to do now. Like a lot of the younger generation, they call them millennials, but a lot of us, we do what the fuck we want to do. We always have. We're trying to live, and it's like, do what the fuck you want to do without harming others. But I think as the world is evolving, what we really need to do is be able to learn from the past generation, learn from other people's mistakes, because it will save you a lot of fucking trouble. It really will.